need to realize that innovation is all about culture, is all about people. So the first challenge is to understand that to drive innovation today at the pace that is required by this kind of world, especially knowing that many of the challenges we are facing are defined by variables that are kind of unknown or new variables that will come into place in the near future, we need people with the right mindset that are able to tackle all these different challenges in the best possible way. Now, in terms of macro challenges, what's going on out there, I think one of the biggest we have as a society today is for sure the world of sustainability, health and wellness, personalization in a meaningful way, and understanding how technology can enable all of these dimensions. So that's more of an opportunity that we have in the innovation world. If we're able to tackle all of these potential problems or these opportunities, as I like to call them, and use technology as an enabler to change the game, to change the situation, and help companies, big and small, to be innovative, to create financial algorithms that have space for innovation, to give space for experimentation, to stop calling those experiments mistake or missteps or failure. Let's work all together towards the common goals, putting people at the center of everything. People in Love with People is not just a nice subtitle for a book. It's the way, now for many years, I've been defining the innovators of the world. And People in Love with People, the second set of people means human centricity. We need to really focus on needs and wants and dreams of people in everything we do in our business, instead of thinking about financial goals, market share, and technology as a competitive advantage. Of course, those are important variables of what we need to do. They are part of design thinking, desirability, viability, and feasibility. They are part of what we do as innovators, but they need to be perceived and managed as amplifiers, enablers, eventually results, but not as the starting point. The starting point at cultural level in every company needs to be the needs and wants of the human beings, and therefore the needs of our planet, our society, of everything else that come around those human beings. So this is really the starting point, and I think is the biggest challenge right now, because we are in this moment of transition and many companies are not yet understanding how important it is to have that kind of focus. One of the first aha moment, one of the first moments in which I realized what innovation really was when I met this guy. His name is Claudio Cecchetto. He is a big Italian celebrity from the music world, producer, singer, DJ. Imagine in the United States like meeting Jay-Z, just to name one. And I was 25, 26, and we decided to create a company together to explore the world of internet and the digital world that was just starting. Here we are, we start this company, a dream job for me. You know, I was coming from the periphery of Milan, from a town with zero connection, an humble family, growing up, the four of us, me, my brother, and my parents sleeping in one bedroom. And here we are with these big celebrities creating this amazing company in the city center of Milan. And I remember something that really changed my life. The guy never, ever, ever in his life used the word innovation. Never. He wouldn't be able to go in a boardroom in front of a CEO of a company and explain what innovation is. And yet, he's one of the greatest innovators that I ever met in my life, in what he was doing in the world of music. Many of the Italian celebrities today in the world of music were created by him. And when I say created, you could see something in people, what I call today the potential in people, that not even them could see in themselves. In the book, I call Claudio a mentor by osmosis, one of the three categories of mentors I talk about in the book. The reason why I'm mentioning today is that essentially he, without ever talking about innovation, he would practice innovation every single day, every hour of the day. So every task, everything that we needed to do, it could be the big one. Recently, he was organizing a big concert in the Milan San Siro Stadium, the big stadium of Milan, for one of the bands he produced. And this band is very famous, and they keep doing concerts in this stadium over the years. And again, instead of being like, okay, I'm going to do a concert with the great songs of this band, he was thinking, how can I innovate in the way we do the concert? So he came up with the idea of this giant karaoke with screens and everybody could sing, because the most famous songs of this group from, 30 years ago, actually, when they started, are songs that are very trendy in the karaoke's in Italy. But again, it's a little example of even something that you would take for granted. It's a famous band that's going to do the great concert. He was thinking, how can I change the game there? So essentially, long story short, he taught me to be an innovator without ever talking about innovation. There are 3 categories of principles that I call the principles of meaningful design. The first 2 are somehow the foundational and fundamental principle, the one that define everything else. Then there are a set of other principles that are what I call the enabling principles. The first 2 foundational principles is what I call the human principle, essentially creating products that are relevant from a functional standpoint, an emotional standpoint, and a semiotic standpoint. The other principle in the fundamental principle is that the product should be always innovative in a way or the other, distinct, extraordinary, different from everything else. It doesn't mean that you will always be able to create something innovative and extraordinary, but the kind of mindset will push you to push the boundaries of what is feasible all the time and accelerate the overall journey of innovation of your brand, of your company. And it's enough that you actually do something really breakthrough and extraordinary a few times in your life. The enabling principles are all about, if these 2 initial principles are true, then the way you enable that vision is this. Your product should be always sustainable from an aesthetic standpoint, a functional standpoint, functional meaning that they're useful for what I need to do. From an emotional standpoint, meaning that they're engaging for me. From an intellectual standpoint, meaning that they are user-friendly and ergonomic in some way. From a social standpoint, meaning that they are respectful for our diversities in society of any kind. And then environmentally sustainable, and finally financially sustainable. And then I came to a realization years ago that actually financially sustainable is so imperative even for the pure designer, for 2 reasons. First, if you have good ideas, if you're trying to change the world, if you achieve all these dimensions that I just mentioned, if your product or solution is sustainable in all of these different spheres, then you want that solution to reach as many people as possible. So the financially sustainable, the financial success of your product or the viability of your product from a business standpoint is fundamental to make sure that your product reaches as many people as possible. You want billions of people to enjoy your product and not creating something extraordinary that has everything else, but that just 4 or 5 people in the world can enjoy. Competition is extremely useful when it puts a healthy pressure on your product, on your brand, or on an overall category. So when you have a competitor that is innovating and it pushes you to innovate as well in a healthy way, thinking about how to create meaningful value for people, and that's how you compete. That's wonderful. When competition puts too much pressure on you and drives all the actors in the industry to just innovate for the sake of innovation, without creating meaningful solutions for people, because you need to beat competition, not because you are creating value for society, that's something that absolutely doesn't work. On top of it, this accelerated pace of innovation that is not meaningful for people distract you from the most meaningful long-term innovation that can really change the game, change industries. I'm gonna share with you something that worked very well for me. The first thing to do is to dream, to think big, to really have a vision and work every day against that vision to reach that vision. If you do this, first of all, that gives you so much energy, so much passion. We need to protect that ability to dream. And there are many, people that get out of college and then go in these companies and still somehow they have some ability to dream, but then very quickly they become very practical and they stop dreaming and they start to do what they are asked to do. And what I did in my journey was understanding what the companies, my supervisors, the clients were asking me to do, giving them what they were asking me to do, and then in parallel trying to work on changing the game, on doing things differently. So don't accept the frame that they are imposing on you, especially if you're designers. My journey in 3M and then in PepsiCo, I always received a job description that was very specific, and I always did much more than the job description, thinking, how can I help these companies for real? If I didn't do that, probably I wouldn't have lasted a long time in 3M and probably not even in PepsiCo. My question was always, how can I really help this company succeed? And what can I offer as a designer on the basis of my background that eventually they don't even know, because often, they don't know what you can offer. What I'm saying applies to anybody, not just designers. Nobody knows what you can offer. You are the only person in the world that knows what you can offer. So they will ask you something because they have certain kind of expectations, but then work on something that is bigger than that. Dream, make things happen, and work on the connection between the design world, emotion, love, kindness, all these dimensions, and the business world, productivity, efficiency, business performance, the right KPIs. The more you're able to combine the two worlds, the better it is. Any kind of company has an amazing opportunity to learn. I never did an MBA, I never did a PhD, I have a master in design, but I can speak on a stage of a World Business Forum about business because my peers in marketing, in finance, in strategy, in R&D, science and engineering, over the past 25 years have been my professors. I gave this role to them. I look at them as people I could learn from instead of people that just don't understand what I do because I'm a designer. Look at this as an amazing opportunity to grow, to learn, and the goal is combine the two dimensions. That, by the way, is the eternal tension of any human being: rationality on one side, emotions on the other.